Okay, so in this video, I'm going to be talking about how I started reviewing resumes and basically how I started getting paid to review resumes. So for those of you who don't know, my background is actually in recruiting. So if you actually go to my profile right here and you hit it, and you go scroll all the way down, you'll see that I actually worked at a few tech recruiting agencies. Basically, when I first when I graduated from school, before I ended up going out there and doing all this other stuff. But like how I basically got it was pretty organic. I was posting up, as a recruiter myself, I basically get access to a lot of people that are looking for jobs. So that's actually not how I started. How I started was I started getting random people that was reaching out to me on LinkedIn asking me for career advice, and the most tangible thing is actually reviewing people's resumes. So I never really thought about it as a side hustle, but like I hear from a lot of product managers that like people and tech professionals that people reach out and say, hey, can you review my resume? Can you review my resume? Can you review my resume? And the number one thing is people are so apprehensive about asking for a fee to review their resume, even though your time is not free. Sometimes you want to help these people, but like at least something, right? More than like I would say, even if it's like a cup of coffee, it's like something to go ahead and review resumes. But ultimately what ended up happening was I reviewed how it happened very organic for me was that I reviewed a few resumes. I was very scared and I was very apprehensive about asking for the fee, and largely because a few things. Number one, I didn't know how to ask for it. Number two, I didn't know if I should be asking for it because I was a recruiter at the time. And then number three, if I was to ask for it, I had no real concept of how much I should be charging. So that was actually the biggest thing. Was like, okay, if you just slap a number for it. And then number four, I also didn't really know how to get payment. It's not like I had a business set up or something, right? But like, honestly speaking, I started like, but I was like, I knew I could do the resume review job pretty well. So ultimately what basically happened was this. I was curious, and there was a time when I was actually trying to get to know more people in the industry. So every business that I started always starts off with like a passion of mine. Like I want to go ahead and do something that actually makes an impact and not just some like random thing. And I think that's why like to go out there and actually low key and high key flex, this is why I get so many success results that are willing to go to bat because they feel the passion that I have in getting them the best job. Because as you could see here from my own LinkedIn and personally my demeanor is I keep it very real, but I graduated with a history degree trying to break into tech and tech sales and doing recruiting, and this was the only real field that actually gave me a shot. So I during that time when I was trying to bridge a gap, I was actually trying to originally get like a marketing internship. The craziest thing was like so many people are like, well, why didn't you get a business degree? Why didn't you get a marketing degree? Like, why didn't you get... And I felt like there was so much of my experience of like being able to aggregate a lot of information, being able to go ahead and actually do research effectively, write effectively, and all these different things that would add a lot of value. So I really empathize with a lot of people that are trying to transition into product management for the very first time. And they don't know how to communicate all this experience because I said, well, doing sales and doing marketing, that requires research, right? I was reading about 700 or 1,500 pages like a week. I was chomping down information, and not to kind of like reveal my age, but like I did graduate back in 2014. This is way pre-ChatGPT era. And the other thing was I was really good at organizing information, but nobody gave me a shot. And that's actually why like how I ended up getting a job for myself was I went to a Barnes & Noble and I looked at a bunch of books on, and I basically researched it like I was writing a paper about the Roman Empire. So funny, like I recently just saw like this TikTok video somebody showed me is like, people asking their boyfriends, how often do you think about the Roman Empire? It's like every day. It's so crazy because I think about the Roman Empire every day too. But that's a completely separate video, right? But like, I started tackling it like I was writing a research paper, and I was thinking to myself like, okay, I'm just gonna go out there and do some research online at bookstores about resumes, and I started reviewing resumes. And that actually, and it was kind of my job, because as a recruiter, your job is to go out there and present resumes to companies, and it's to sell resumes. In fact, that's actually the standpoint that like I come at it when I create my resume content is, are you having a document that's making it easy for the recruiter to sell you? Because when the recruiter goes to the hiring manager, the recruiter's like, hey, you know, like when the recruiter's going to the hiring manager, the recruiter's like, hey, I want you to go ahead and talk to this person named Andy, you know, or this is actually a product manager that's coming out from a finance background, right? Investment banking analyst. Like, I want you to go ahead and talk to Jane. She's currently at JP Morgan right now, wants to go ahead and make a transition over to product management. Well, like, are you making it easy for them to sell yourself to the hiring manager? Because not everybody that the recruiter, if you've ever had, like, let me know in the comments, have you ever had like a recruiter call that was really good, but unfortunately you never went to the second screen? It was because the recruiter wasn't able to successfully sell you to the hiring manager. So I started reviewing some resumes for free, just strictly because I went through the pain and the suffering of trying to get my own job interviews. And on top of that, I know what it's like asking your friends for an interview, feeling like you're asking for a handout. And I asked some of my friends if they can get me interviews, and they're like, and mind you, I actually scored a lot of scholarships when I was in school. I was actually a pretty decent student. And they're like, yeah, I could tell they either didn't feel comfortable because if they felt like it would somewhat jeopardize their job and their social standing within their company. And I don't hold that personal, because like, you know, they're putting their reputation on the line when they're referring somebody. And then there are some people that just straight up didn't care, and kind of like I could tell was enjoying watching me suffer, and they were like too busy flexing like, yeah, I got this cool tech sales, or I got this cool job somewhere. And I was just thinking to myself, okay, I guess we're really not friends. So from that standpoint, I was really able to empathize. So it always came from like, I wanted to go out there and help people first. It wasn't like I thought about starting like a product gym or a boss foundry and doing all this other stuff. With that said, when I started reviewing people's resumes, people were telling me that they were getting more interviews, and then they were also referring other people to me. And that's when two things happened. Number one, people were taking me out to lunches and dinner and drinks, which I appreciate always. The second thing was, there was somewhere along the line, somebody just gave me $200-300 in cash. Literally, like cash money, like here. And that was where it very organically, and very organically at $200 to $300, they started referring people to me, and they would just say, hey, so Jane and she said, you charge like $200-300 for like a review. And I mean, I wasn't going to say no, because my time was still my time, right? But the craziest thing was like, I was like, yeah, yeah. You know, and that's kind of how it started, where I started building like a batch of like digital products to be able to go ahead and back up my career coaching, which was like resume reviews. I started building out some like digital products like resume templates, guides, resources. And that's when people started also asking me things, and this is a completely separate video. Let me know if you want me to make a separate video on this, but people are asking me about like what are some of the best answers that I've seen for these types of interview questions, and I'd give it to them, I'd document it, because like I went through the pain and suffering of getting a job, and I was job hunting at a time when I also had a job that I didn't find inspiring. And I remember when I had that job that I didn't find inspiring, I had a break at 10:30, 12 o'clock for lunch, 3:30 in the afternoon, and I played a game with myself to go ahead and pack all those different slots. And then, of course, you know, pre-pandemic, I pretended I was sick one day to go out there and do all my in-person interviews. And this was back in LA, where I was like driving around frantically. So I started taking all of that and I started adding it in there into these Google Docs, and I started giving it to people, and people are paying me off of that too. So the moral of the story is this: like, you can start charging however much you want. Like, I started getting like just paid like randomly $200 to $300 if you actually go ahead and do some research. And this is actually the very crazy thing about the research about like resume writer fees. if you go like on Upwork or whatever, you'll see that people are actually charging some pretty insane rates. Like I actually saw somebody charge $1,500 for a resume review, for a resume revamp at the executive level, and all this other stuff that you can go out there and do. Of course, you have to like start off like low, and then you price yourself high the more experience that you get too. But like where you actually really make the majority of your money in this racket is really, this is like recurring. You can go out there and just sell it one time. You make it one time and you just keep moving it. Resume review actually takes time, and I'm all about like low effort, less time side hustles where you can go out there and just sell it. And in digital products, you can go out there and sell it to them back. The best thing that you can do is like some of my digital products, like this Airtable template right here. This is on a recurring subscription. You can go ahead and set up a recurring subscription where you're constantly updating that information. Like an interview cheat sheet prints cash for you, right? That interview cheat sheet, absolutely, it prints cash because people want access to that, and you keep on adding to it because you keep on talking to other people. So another moral of the story that I want to go ahead and give you this is, you know, even though when you start off a side hustle, you think you're spending your time for free, but it's actually really not for free. You know, like one of my friends that does DJ, he's a DJ. It's like when you first start off as a DJ, he's like, a lot of people, they reach out and they actually say like, hey, you know, how can I start getting paid to be a DJ? It's like when you first start off, you're not paid to be a DJ. Like you're going out there, you're networking, and you know, just to be able to get a few free gigs that where they allow you to use their venue to promote your own brand. But are you really like not making any money off of that? No, somebody's gonna take some photos, somebody's gonna tag you, somebody's gonna go out there and make some videos, they're gonna go out there and tag you. Likewise with resume writing and with career coaching, everything that I was doing for free ended up paying off back 10x on the back end, just strictly because I came from a heart where I was genuinely trying to help people. But at the same time, I wasn't exactly set up as a business either. And I'm not just talking about like people just don't say like, here's $500. Like I wasn't like, I didn't have a checklist of standard operating procedures I know how to operate from. Like I was trying to figure it out too. The first time I did a resume revamp, even at a free level, I think I was spending about like 8 to 9 hours, and I was like thinking about how to explain it. So then once I had all my templates down and I have a list of resources and I had all my guides and I kind of had my own process, in about an hour to an hour and a half, I was basically flipping anywhere at my height. It was like about like at my height to get like a fully done resume that was handwritten by me like an Italian tailor. I was charging like $3,500, which case I was like already like it was kind of costing like I was just thinking to myself, wow, this is amazing. This is what I want to do all day, every day. But now I'm more focused on like career coaching, and then I can go ahead and focus on other things like creating content that's going to help people break into side hustles. So there's so much that you can do out there, and there's so much that I have done. And you can learn more about it in my school. It's called Part-Time Side Hustles. I will see you in school. Don't be late to school. And more importantly, like everything kind of just starts with LinkedIn, and you can go out there and funnel it onto content, coaching, courses, community, and consulting. And the most important thing that I try to drive home with people is like, there's this huge myth and misconception where you have to do everything yourself. You actually don't. How I'm able to go ahead and juggle all of this, I am doing content, as you guys can see. I am doing coaching. I am doing courses. I do host communities. I am doing consulting. I'm doing all of those different things, as you can very clearly see from my LinkedIn. I'm represented in all 5 of the C's, and in each 5 of the C's, I'm doing multiple things within multiple things within multiple things. Is because I have a really strong remote team, and I'm telling you right now, my mission is to help you become a job creator, because everybody wins. You help provide somebody halfway around the world with the job, and that person buys back your time, and that helps you put yourself in a situation where you can choose whether or not you want to keep working, or you can choose you want to go ahead and leave, and you never have to be under the threat of a gun where you're going to get laid off for no reason, or you never ever have to feel like, oh my gosh, am I going to get automated by AIs? Because like no matter what happens, people are going to want like you need a side hustle. Like just my passion project is to go out there and help everybody create that secondary income stream and help everybody become a job creator. So come see me in school. I'll see you in school. Don't be late to school. I'll talk to you later.